Welcome to day 29, and in today's video we will learn about lifecycle rules and replication rules of the S3. So in Amazon S3, S3 provides the feature of replication rules and lifecycle rules. How does this work and how to implement this? That's what we will see in this particular video. So without any further delay, let's move to the AWS console, and here we will create one S3 bucket, and then we will see how to enable the lifecycle rules and replication rules, both the things. So let's search for the S3, and here we will jump on the AWS console S3. Before getting into this S3 lifecycle rules and replication rules, if you are not aware about other properties of the S3, you can watch out the other videos which are available on the channel, where we have talked in details creating how to create S3 bucket, pre-signed URL, static website hosting, storage classes, S3 CORS, and many more details. Also about the other AWS services we have covered: AWS EC2, load balancer, auto scaling group, target groups, launch template, EIPs, VPC peering, transit gateway, net gateway, internet gateway, and so on. So in this particular video, we are going to talk about Amazon S3, and that too on the lifecycle rules and the replication rules. So let's create a unique bucket, and for that we will just give the name man demo-11. That will be the unique one. So let's go with the other default configuration. Here I will mark my bucket as public. Just for my choice, you can go with the block this particular thing as a enabled as well. That means private bucket. And for the rest of the things, let's go with the bucket versioning as a disable, then enable, and other things. But remember, to make it lifecycle rules and replication rules, we will have to enable this versioning, because according to the version only it will do the the rules will be applied. So we will see that further as well. So let's click on the create bucket, and here we go with the bucket creation. Probably yes, the bucket has been created. Let's get into the bucket. Here you see there is no bucket, and we are not going to upload any bucket here. We will just see how to create the rules. So here in the management section, within the S3 buckets, within the management section, you have two options: lifecycle rules and the replication rules. In lifecycle rules, you can see there is use lifecycle rules to define actions you want Amazon S3 to take during an object's lifetime, such as transitioning object to another storage class. When it says another object, another storage class, what does that mean? If you want to move, like let's go to this particular slide. Where is that? Amazon S3, yes, this one. So if you want to move your objects from this S3 standard to S3 Glacier Deep Archive, you can create lifecycle rules. What does that mean? Earlier, when you create S3 bucket and you start storing the data, that goes into the S3 standard. But the moment you start thinking of making your cost much easier, cost effective solution, you can think of putting forward your archival data from S3 standard to S3 Glacier Deep Archive. So this will save your cost as well, because both the every storage class has the different cost associated with it, correct? So that way you can save the cost. So in the archive, in the S3 Glacier Deep Archive, your data will be there, and it will be non-touchable, like it will be very less accessible, and after some time even you can delete this data from the S3 bucket itself, correct? So for that you can move from here to there. So for that there is a lifecycle configuration. Here if you click on the create lifecycle rule, you pass the name demo. Whether you want to limit this scope on using on some data, like based on some filter, like whatever the object starts with or end with mp4 or ends with the jpg, that this rule should be applied only on that, or you want to apply on all objects. If you click on the apply to all objects in this bucket, you have to acknowledge. Once you acknowledge, let's move to the next actions. Life transition current version of object between storage classes, correct? So object between storage classes, non-current, current version, which object you want to move from one storage class to another storage class, that all options you have here, and you can configure according to that. Just acknowledge here, and now you have to select that in which storage class you want to move it, correct? So for that you have the option this what do we say, choose a storage class transition from standard what was there, S3 standard, correct? From S3 standard to S3 standard IA or in which storage class you want to move. So for that you can select from here, either you want to Glacier Deep Archive on what number of days. So you can select whenever my data gets 120 days older, it should move to the Glacier Deep Archive. So for that you can select this the number of days. So if you see the current the details over here, review transition and expiration action, current version actions, day 0 object uploaded, and after 120 days your objects will move to the Glacier Deep Archive. So that's the way how you can create your lifecycle rules. Now let's move to the another one, replication rule. For this one, if you see the definition itself, which is on the AWS console, it says use replication rules to define options you want S3 to apply during replication, such as server-side encryption, replica ownership, transitioning replica to another storage class. So these replication rules can be used for moving your objects from one bucket to another bucket in the same region, in another region, same account, another AWS account as well. Correct. So for that, replicating this data, here it was that moving the objects between the different storage class. Here it says that you want to keep the backup. Correct. So for that you can clear the replication rules. Let's get into this. For this replication, you will have to enable versioning as well. Replication requires versioning to be enabled. Based on the version, like up to 2.0 or up to 100.0, the object should be replicated, and the current version will be there. Once it gets 1 day older, it will be replicated according to the newer version. Correct. So for that you will have to enable. So replication is versioning is enabled now. Here you create replication rule name as demo. Status enabled. Here you can select in the similar way whether you want to apply for few objects or apply to all objects. Choose a bucket in this account or specify a bucket in another account. So if you have another bucket in the same account, you can select that. You can pass the name here, or you can click on the browse S3. Then region, if you want select in another account, so accordingly you can select the region as well. Then the role and the permission, like you want to delete, you want to replicate, so all those kind of permissions and other details you will have to pass in the IAM role, and that IAM role you can configure from here, just like the demo role or any permissions you want to create, you can select that. Then in encryption and the destination storage class, so in which storage class if you want to move. So suppose that earlier in the primary bucket you have the data in standard, and then you want to move it to the from a standard to the Glacier Deep Archive. So in the similar way you can select over here, whenever the data gets replicated from first bucket to the another bucket, it will move to the Glacier Deep Archive at the same time. So in the that way you can create your replication rules as well. You can click on the save and your replication rule will be there. So this is how you can implement your lifecycle rules, your replication rules in your S3 bucket, and with that way you can either replicate your data or you can save your data as well. So in this particular video I wanted to talk about these two concepts as well, and we have covered the Amazon S3. If anything is left, you can put down that in comment and I will try to create the video on that as well. So till the time, thank you, and stay tuned to the channel and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you.